You post up a YouTube video, 50,000 people look at it, and you're like, nah, my last one got, 250,000. This one's okay. If 50,000 people showed up at your next Empire Wild concert, you would lose your fucking mind. It's a stadium. The Beatles have arrived. Let's go. Buying the 2 Maseratis. Let's make this happen.
That's true.
And yet we look at these numbers now and they don't really mean anything. We get these weird comments and they don't really mean anything.
Yeah,
All these numbers. It's really weird. You guys are on the edge of this, the cutting edge. You're going through these experiences where it's very likely, in fact, there's a high likelihood that more people, more ears have heard what you're doing than ever heard Brahms during his time, Bach during his time, Mozart during his time, Vivaldi during his time, combined. How does all of this sit in your mind? Like, how do you also combat these? Obviously, with dealing with humility and trying to be set in reality, but how do you deal with this different types of numbers? Because there is no playbook. No one else has done this before. How do you cope?
To be honest, I stopped caring about the numbers a long time ago. Because the numbers don't bring me happiness. Different types of things bring me happiness these days.
Money brings me happiness. The numbers don't matter anymore.
Except in my bank account.
Yeah.
Except in dollar bills, baby.
Except
no,
Bitcoin.
I think the greatest satisfaction comes, at least in my musical life, the greatest satisfaction has come from moments where I feel I've performed or executed in a way that reflected my level of preparation. It's so stupid in a way when I say it out loud, but when you play just like the way you want to play, that gives you a lot of happiness. I think, because then the worst thing that one can happen, I feel, is you say, well, I know I could have done better. To me, that's the greatest disappointment any creative can have. So instead of fighting for numbers, I fight for that feeling where I did what I set out to do. And I don't set out for numbers.
I think you're really good at that. That's one of the things I admire about Nathan too. Like, just, growing up in our little musical endeavors together, just, you've always been kind of that guy who, is willing to put in like 100% in your preparation for something that you really want, and this was the same thing that I saw when you were preparing for your auditions for your orchestra auditions. This was the same when you were preparing for your Marlboro auditions. I think that's something that's, easy to say, but really hard to, I think, pull off. And I think I see that when your preparation actually takes fruit and you're able to execute it the way that you intended it, and having that the most direct line from your mental, I guess the idea that you have in your mind directly through the cello out to your output, it's just always really kind of cool to see. And it's as we know, as musicians, it's one of the hardest things to do, like that direct line from what we first visualize in our head to what comes out of our instrument and how the audience hears it, to get that as efficient and as direct as possible is one of the hardest things to do. And I think Nathan's really kind of crushing that.
Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot coming from you.